I'm sure most everyone is familiar with sesame seeds when you see them on hamburger buns, and I'm sure most family have lots of experience from the fast food restaurants and seeing them. But have you ever wondered where a sesame seed is going to come from? Well, right here beside me is a sesame seed plant. Now this is an annual plant. It's sold most often under herbs, but it's very unusual in the fact that it really is a comparison as far as okra, and that's how you really want to keep it in mind. It loves full sun, it needs well-drained soil, and also it doesn't branch quite as much as okra. You can see the single stalks with the few branches. A lot of the bottom leaves have already fallen off. But the thing about sesame is, if you plant it too early, it just doesn't grow well, which we learned the hard way because we've started out wanting to put it in our edible landscape, which was put in pretty early. The seed never did come up. If they did, they died back. And by the time we moved to another location, finally got them planted, it was June 1st before we ever got them in the ground, the seed. Well, sesame needs at least a minimum of 4 to 5 months to produce. And so really we're pushing it close, because let me show you what the finished product looks like. I'll cut one of the tall stalks off. First of all, you can see the flower is kind of an off-white, sometimes even a pinkish cast. And after it's pollinated, you'll start seeing little pods form, and as we go down the stem, you see that they get a little bit bigger. Again, very similar to what we would see in okra. Well, obviously that also tells us the ones at the bottom should mature first. Well, ours are still very green, and let me pull one off here and we'll show you what it looks like. But with the sesame pods, it should turn a darker color, a browner color. And when we open that up, you'll see there's 4 cavities that have seeds lined up in them. Now, if you leave these on too long, they'll actually turn a dark color and open and shatter and scatter the seeds all over the place. So you want to harvest them before they get to that point. But again, here we are around the 3rd week of October and just a couple of 3 weeks away from our first frost. And with it being a tropical warm season type plant, a light frost will do it in. So I'm not sure that we're ever really going to get our seed pods to ripen. So we need to get them in early, but not too early, because I don't like that cool, early, wet spring temperatures. Now, the other thing I found very interesting with the sesame, most of the catalogs and research that we could do on it say the plants would grow 1 to 2 feet. Well, as you can see from the raised bed, this one is well over 6 feet tall. And we did find one source that described them as growing about 5 feet. Well, as a result, you can see we have a cage around them, because a few weeks ago we had a nice windstorm come through with a lot of wind and rain, and it blew the plants over and it kind of stressed them. As a matter of fact, the ones on the other side, it broke them off completely. But these we were able to salvage, pull them back up, and put a cage around them. And really, I would encourage you, since we didn't know how tall they would get, I would encourage you to stake them and cage them right off the bat so they'll have a little extra support, because the stress caused the lower leaves to fall off, and it just looks like it's been damaged from a storm, which it was. So again, it's just loaded with seed pods, and I've even read some people, once they start turning, they'll actually cut the pod, or not the individual pods, but the top like I did here, and they'll hang them upside down in a bag, and they'll just go ahead and let them shatter and ripen inside the bag and collect the seed that way. But you have to be careful so you don't get them to do that in your garden spot. Now, if you're wondering where to get sesame seed, let me show you a couple of sources that we found for this particular year. They're not real common. One of the sources was Hastings catalog, which was their 1993 catalog. And again, you may have to look under herbs in many cases, but here it is listed, sesame, and it gives some suggestions on how to use it. And again, they actually suggest it would get around 5 feet, where most others 1 to 2. Another source was Park Seed, and also listed under herbs. And you'll see here they give the genus species of Sesame indicum and some more uses. So I think probably the supply is going to be pretty good. If this is something you want to try, you should be able to find them probably next year. Now, the other thing is, it's new to us, so we didn't really know what to expect, so we're experimenting a little bit. But we've gotten this far with it. let's join Barb in the kitchen and make sure that our transition from here to inside is going to be okay. And she's got some great pointers to make sure we put it to good use.